Hello, good evening. Welcome. My name is Kwabena and Marie. I want to share with you 5 challenges of entrepreneurship. Every aspect of life has challenges. Everything that anybody starts, we get to meet challenges. If you start to go to school, you meet challenges. If you start to do any project with your life, you meet challenges. If you marry, obviously challenges. Life itself is full of challenges. And so when you start a business, or entrepreneurship as they call it, also has a lot of challenges. Now people become overwhelmed when they underestimate the challenges that they will meet when they start their business. And so these are some of the things, the 5 things that I identified trying to start a business and trying to build a business. Some people share their wisdom and knowledge and experiences out of their successes, and that is good. They inspire people. They get people to see that it's possible for them to also achieve something. I believe in the other way. I believe in, if you're going to inspire a lot of people, you also have to share some of the difficulties that you endured before you go to the so-called successes that we talk about. In that way, when people are in the middle of the problems, they see that it's not uncommon. I mean, it's not something that is unique with them. They get to know that these people also went through these stages and they overcame them. So people happen to give up or get frustrated, not because of the success stories, but because of the difficulties, the failures, the mistakes that they endure or they meet. That is what make people, or those are the things that make people to give up on their dreams, on their entrepreneurship journey. Not the successes that they met. Usually the successes will not destroy the business. Usually, sometimes they can get into success and get destroyed, but a lot of people give up because of the frustrations, because of the problems, because of the mistakes, because of the oppositions, because of the challenges that they meet, especially if they underestimated them. They get overwhelmed by them. If we don't get to know what others have endured, we will exaggerate our difficult moments. You know, if you don't get to know what others put up with before they go to where they are, or what they are still even what they are still going through, you may think that the little things or the few things or maybe the many challenges that you have endured were so much special to you, and they are actually not special at all. They are just part of the game. You are just trying to meet them now. So it always comes down to who will be the last one standing. You know, those who win in this journey of life, in anything that they try, are those who have the endurance to stand after everything has been thrown at them. Those who have the endurance to stand are those who get to win. And so stay cool. The challenges that will come, you will get to hear some of the successes of a lot of people, and then you will get to hear some of the difficulties that people have endured. And if you know some of these things, and you develop the muscles and the strength of mind, you'll be able to see the successes that you're also looking for. And so the first of the challenges that I think there are, the first one will be the challenge of the idea, of the business idea, the concept, the model. Not every business will get you success. Not every business will get you the speed and the volume of success that you're looking for. And so your ability to identify which business is needed in the kind of environment that you start the business, which business has the expertise that you have at the time that you are starting the business, which business is really needed to get you the volumes and the successes that you want. Your ability to identify that kind of business is very critical, and most people fail at that. Most people meet a lot of challenges by the mere fact that they went into the right, the wrong idea, the wrong business model, the wrong concept of business. So the challenges may only be that you started the wrong business, or the business idea was wrong from the start, and you did not know, and so you started it, and it got you into a lot of difficulties. It's not wrong not starting, it's wrong not starting, but you could start something and get stuck for years just because it was the wrong business that you did not need to start, or maybe you were not that kind of person who was cut for that business in the first place. And maybe the only thing that drew you into that business was just the money, and so you look at the money and you got into that business, and then you're stuck. You see that you created a lot of problems that you are trying to get out of, and you're not able to get out of because the business idea was ill-suited for you. So it may not be a wrong business idea for another person or in another time, but you, the time, the environment, the whole thing may be a wrong thing. And that's why you are meeting so many difficulties, and you're caught in a web, and you are trying to get out, and you may not be able to get out for a long time because you got into the wrong business. And some business will also not get you the kind of volumes that you're looking for in terms of money, if that is part of it. And there's nothing wrong with starting a business and thinking that you should also, beyond the vision to solve problems for people, the business should, or the vehicle, which the business is actually, because there's a speed that a small car can get you. There's a speed limit. There's not so much you can go with a very little car, and there's a certain level of speed that, let's say, Land Cruiser or Pajero can get you. And so the model that you're taking will show the kind of successes that you can endure. So if somebody starts, say, an oil business, it's different from you starting, say, a provision business, so to say, in a small scale level, and somebody starting a business in the oil field, because the volumes needed are different and the figures are different. So sometimes the business that you start may get you a lot of frustration, challenges. The idea can get you into a lot of troubles. So some people are in a lot of difficulties just because of the idea that they started. It does not mean that I don't think there's any business that you start, any business idea that you get to test that will not have problems. They will have, but if you look at your talent, your passion, the environment that you are creating, the need for that business, they should be able to get you at a certain point. You should be able to see that the thing is working. And so it cannot be consistent. You cannot prove the concept for 10 years. You cannot prove a business concept for 10 years. The business concept within 6 months, 1 year, it should be working. And so if it's not working, it means that you may be in a wrong vehicle, and you may create a lot of problems for yourself. So look at the concept work. Look at the concept and look at what you stand for, what you have studied, what you are equipped to do, and let's see how you get over the challenges. The next challenge will be the challenge of yourself, because you have got to prove yourself. Your confidence level, your talent, your passion, the things that you think that you are made to do. Those will be a challenge at a point, because the doubt, set in, and all humans at a point in time doubt themselves. And so you are going to have that challenge to prove yourself that am I the one to do this kind of business. You are going to encounter that, and the way you overcome that will affect the output of the business. And I see that as a challenge for a lot of people, because the doubt is always there. They have not been able to identify that I am this kind of person, this is my gift, this is what I'm good at, and this is what I can do. A lot of people still in constant doubt, and that is not going to help the business at all, because you are the one doing the business. If you are in constant doubt of your abilities, of your gift, of what you bring on board, of your experiences, of the value that you create, it's going to affect everything. And so you have some little time to convince yourself that you're really ready to commit to this business and to make it work. So the doubt cannot be forever. It can be at the point of start. When you are starting, you may have some doubt, but you cannot continue to have the doubt after 5 years, after 7 years. Maybe you may not be able to eradicate the doubt 100%, but the doubt cannot be there in a big volume, in a big level. maybe 90% of the time you're not sure. No, after a while, you should be sure that at least, if nothing at all, you are committed to building a business, and you think that you're an entrepreneur and you can do something they call business. So if the doubt, if you still torn between going to look for a job or staying with the business, it can start maybe when you start, but it cannot be after 5 years, 6 years you're still thinking of going to get a job or going to do business. Then the doubt is too much. You will not be able to achieve a lot. So that is a challenge that you have got to overcome. That is a major challenge for a lot of people, for you to overcome the doubt that you have in terms of you deciding that I am a person who wants to, build a business, and so you're convinced of that, and you want to prove that concept. If you are still, after 3, 4, 5 years, you're still looking back to say, well, I wish I took a job, that is a major thing that can destroy everything that you're doing. So you cannot continue to doubt. At a certain point, you have to make sure that this is what I want to do, and so I am going to throw all my life into it to make sure that it works. You cannot have the doubt all the time. That is a danger. So some people, they're still looking back after 6 years, even if the business picks a little, the doubt is so high. And sometimes it may not be, the challenges may not be that the business model is not working. Sometimes the challenges will be that the man is still vacillating. The man is still not so much convinced that he has to commit his life to building a business. And it happens to a lot of people, especially those people who work for a while before starting the business. When they meet any little challenge or any few problems, they want to look back and say that, let me go back and look for let me go back, I can do accounting, and so there's trouble, let me go back and get an accounting job somewhere and leave this business. And that, for me, at a point, you should close your mind to say that I want to commit to building a business, and so I'm ready to learn everything that there is for me to build the business for it to succeed. You have to show that commitment, and you have to show that conviction, because the people around you would need that you cross that line where you are looking back to say that I have to go and look for a job. At a certain point, that thinking must cease if you really want to build a business. You should cross a line to say, maybe the first 3-4 months you may still be looking for, maybe if I get a job I will do it, and you still be calling your friends to ask them for job and stuff like that. But it gets to some point, after 2 years, you cannot be calling your friends for job. You should be able to convince yourself to say that, listen, this is what I want to do, this is what I want to commit my life to do, and that's it. So the proverbial bend a ship or bend a bridge kind of thing, you just say that this is what I want to do. I cannot see myself at this point to say that I'm going to write a CV to look for a job. That is off the line. So I have got to make it work. If it doesn't work, and at a point you should be able to commit yourself. People from some cultures are able to commit themselves their entire life to say that this is what I want to do. I want to use my life to study this kind of organism, and you see that the entire life they become an expert in that. I want to spend my life to know how to make maybe jewelry, and they stay with that. They don't look back. I want to spend all my life to become a politician. They stay with that. I want to spend my life to become a doctor, and they stay with that. They want to become an expert at something. And so if you think that entrepreneurship for you, you should also decide to say that I want to start become an expert in this thing. So you commit your life to it. You think camera should not disturb you because you are decided. Look at the footballers, for instance. I don't think Marquez is looking to become a boxer. He commits to it. And I don't think that Nanado is trying to become what? A doctor. No, he committed to politics. So that's it. He's committed to it, and until you make that switch, that commitment, you will not see results. And so at a point, you may start as a side business, you may start as a thing that you are testing, but when it gets to a certain level, you have to convince yourself. You have to make that decision that I want to build a business. At least you want to commit some amount of time, to maybe 5-10 years, to make sure that you're committed to this to make it work. And so if you don't overcome that, it becomes a challenge when you are always thinking whether you have to go and look for a job, whether you are really the one to start a business or to do this business. Those things, it is a challenge. And so you have to overcome that, to be convinced of yourself that you are ready to provide that leadership you are ready to commit to doing business and being proud of it, and studying whatever you have to study around it, and being convinced that this is for you. The other challenge that I will call for is the challenge of what they call partnership. Whoever comes in to team up with you, whether they are employee or they are a business partner. That, you see, when you're starting, you may be that naive, and you may probably may not have studied a lot of the data on what to look for in terms of picking somebody to become your partner. So you just happen to have the little information, and then you pick somebody to become your partner. That can break the business. It's a challenge. That can break the business, or that can make the business work. The kind of person that you get on board to build in a business. Their composition, their understanding, their ethics, their endurance level, their commitment, the kind of technical expertise that they bring in, the kind of leadership abilities that they bring in. Are they able to, when they see success, are they going to change? Or when they see problems, are they going to run away? Who do you pick to become your somebody to work with you? Whether it's a partner or your first employee. That will make the business or break the business. Sometimes it just goes beyond just you being able to stay with it, because if you decide to go with a partner, and then it means that it's split between you, and the business can run faster if you have the right knowledge to pick the right person, and the business can stagnate or die if you pick the wrong one. Just like life, if you pick the wrong partner in terms of marriage, a lot of things happen. And if you happen to get maybe if you happen to get the so-called good partner, maybe your life will be different. So whoever you pick is as critical as you picking somebody in marriage, is because a lot of things get done if you pick the right one, and a lot of things don't get done if you pick the wrong one. So it's a challenge. The business can fail quickly because you pick the wrong partner, or you pick the wrong employee, and the business can expand and grow and grow even from within, because you got the right support in another person. What they brought in. They brought in their network, they brought in sometimes their money, they brought in the good spirit, the encouragement, they brought in a lot of things. They brought in all the life that they have lived. So you have to know what you want and the kind of partner that you want. What is it that is important to you? You look for that. You write them down and look for that. Maybe you didn't do that in the first one, and that's why maybe you are meeting these challenges. If you had another chance to work on it, what would you look for? It's critical. It's a major thing that you cannot overlook. They say that partnership does not work so much here. I think that it's not that it does not work. We happen not to have the right skills to pick who. That's why it does not work. Maybe you pick your brother, maybe you pick your friend, maybe you pick your schoolmate, maybe you pick, and they were looking somewhere and you are looking somewhere. And probably they were looking for salary and you were looking to build a business. They were looking for money to build a house, to buy a car, and you were looking at, okay, let's create a business and grow it to create wealth. If that psyche does not change along the line, there will be rift. There will be the people will drift, so to say. There will be separation, because you can only go together when there's common focus. And if they are not the ones who can grow with the speed that you are growing with, there will also be that drift. So it's not just being able to pick the right one, but then both of you, or the three of you, or what number that you have, being able to grow together will also decide the future of the business that you're building. And so if you fail at that, you can get better tools to shoot at it again. I think that business is so difficult for you to try to build everything around yourself. I think that it's not a job. If you're building a company, it's not more a job. So don't try to carry everything on yourself. But it's better to go alone than going with the wrong person. So it's something that you have to study. It's that much important. And most of the challenges are, the challenges that we identify are the avenues for stress, and they are the reasons that businesses collapse. So if you pick the wrong one, the wrong team, then you're going to go through a lot of difficulties. a lot of difficulties. There will be a challenge that you would have to overcome. So the next one will be the challenge of the finances. The business runs with money. The idea may not start with money, but after the idea is proven, the business must run with money. And so your understanding of the money, how it is made, how it is channeled for the business to grow, is so critical. If it's a challenge, the business will stagnate for a long time. If it's a challenge, the business will suffer. And so the challenge of money, because you are going to buy the product, you are going to develop the project, you are going to execute or whatever you're executing, because you have the money. And so whether it's your money or you created, whether it's coming from the sales, the loan, or whatever way that the money is coming from, your understanding of it, how it comes in, how it goes out, how you're able to channel it to grow it, is so much important, because it's a major challenge. The business can die, the business can collapse if you cannot pay the next salaries for the next 12 months. Nobody will stay with you. They will go, they will fight you. They will take the project from you. They will close the shop because you don't have the money to pay. Because the services return with money. So your ability to understand the money and overcome the money challenge, the finances, is so critical to you succeeding. Don't underplay it. Yet the money should not be the one that scares you from going into the business in the first place. But along the line, your understanding of it is so critical if you're going to grow the business. The one who is able to lift the business to the next step and grow it has a better understanding of the finances than the one whose business is struggling all the time. So you being able to come with a lot of leverage, it can be a challenge. Understanding is weak. It can be a major. That's why businesses collapse actually. When you cannot pay your supply, when you cannot pay your workers, when you cannot pay, if you cannot pay them, they will. So look up for them. It's a challenge. The challenge means that they can overcome these things. So they only overwhelm you when you underestimate their importance. The challenges will overwhelm you when you underestimate their importance. And usually, most people who start, they underestimate the rate at which it gets to be spent. We spend the money, and a lot of the mistakes will come in the money area. A lot of mistakes will come through that, and that's where be shut down quickly if the money starts to lose money. You see the heart of the people that you have in the business, because people will check when there are financial problems. Because I don't think there's any kind of pressure beyond the financial pressure in business. I don't think. The business has problems, yes, but if there is money problem, the pressure that comes, that is what makes people crumble and run away from business. The problem, challenges are so many and so intense, because you know how people take their money. So it's a major challenge that you have got to and overcome, because you'll be tested all these stages, and they are all tests. Whereas the concept that you are testing yourself is a test that you have to overcome. The partnership is a test. You have to pass that. And the finances will be a major test. And sometimes they can be lengthened because of it. And that is when that one is lengthened too much, that's why you're giving up on the business quick. Because it's one of the major things that that can crash the business quickly. It can break everything around you. The financial challenges. It can break the house or the home. It can break you yourself. It can break the team. It can break everything. The finances. So it's a major one. And so if you're in the middle of it, you just have to know that it's a problem that you have to solve. You cannot run away. You just have to prove yourself. You cannot just leave them. If the business created those challenges, whether it's the challenge, whether it's the money that you needed to grow the business, or whether it's the debt that are out of your mistakes, out of the wrong choices that you made, either of them. And they will prove your worth. They will prove your resilience. They will prove your strength. It's one of the things that would the financial difficulties. So that's one of the major things that you have learned to, you have got to overcome. The next one will be the challenges from state institutions. You cannot grow a business by trying to hide. You know, at a point, if you are committed to this with your life, you would want to come out and get an office and employ one person, 2 people. You will have to know how to handle that side. The Senate, the taxes, all those institutions that you deal with, the certifications that you need from state institutions. Those are challenges that you have learned. You have got to learn to handle them. And you just flow with them and develop your values, actually, trying to deal with them. You cannot hide and you cannot continue to run away. So you have to know how to handle these institutions. After all, you operate in a country, somebody provides the roads even if they are not tied, electricity even if they don't come consistently. Somebody provides these services. So if you are going to do this thing that we call business and do it well, you may have to learn how to, you know, handle this and become some bit of a, you know, a responsible citizen and try to do what they say that we should do. So it's a challenge that because you'll be shocked that you started a business with your money, you have gone through all the problems that you have gone through, and then one person will come and knock at your office to say that come and pay this, and if you don't pay, they will tell you that they will lock the place. Some of them will even threaten you to take you to court, and yet you decided to start a business. And when the time that you were starting the business, you did not know that these things were also things that you have to deal with. You know, so the tax people will come and say that we want to take you to court because you are not paying. Your Senate will come for you. That is what we have to deal with. So that is a challenge that you have got to learn how to handle them. And I'm not sure that you overcome any of these challenges at any point. You only become better in trying to handle them. But any point that you want to jump to the next stage, they come. And so you would have to learn how to handle a lot of them. Now, how do you overcome some of these challenges? I think that being aware that they exist is a major thing. You know, the awareness that these are things that I will meet is a very important thing. And then being committed to developing the right expertise in handling all these challenges that I've talked of. You know, and there are challenges that you are going to deal with almost every stage of the business journey. And so you cannot get pissed off, you cannot get unhappy with them. They're just part of life. There are challenges in your personal life that you will not, whatever you have to do. So as long as you are in this life, you would have to learn how to deal with some of it. So resolve to stay with the process and to see successes, and then learn how to deal with them and get to the next stage. Because the point is that you would have overcome the challenge of you saying that I'm committed to building a business. So if you're committed to building a business, then you are as well committed to learning the whole process and learning them well. You know, so get better all the time and continue to develop yourself. So that is how that's how you learn how to overcome them. That the awareness that these are things that I'm going to meet, you know, and then being committed to developing the right expertise, the right skills to building or to handling any of these challenges, you know, and resolving to stay with the process. So my name is Kwabena. I am talking about 5 challenges of entrepreneurship, and I am not talking about business plan. I don't think that's a challenge, something that you can just script. I'm not talking of even the money in terms of I don't have money, that's why I'm not starting. I'm not talking of that. The business gets started with an idea. My persuasion is that some people share their wisdom out of their successes, which is fantastic, and some people share their wisdom based on the challenges that they have endured. And I think that is what most people relate to, because most people may not have tasted a lot of successes, but they have tasted a lot of difficulties, and they are trying to still get over them. You know, and so people happen to give up or get frustrated because of the problems that they meet in trying to do anything. even in trying to live life, because life itself is a business. If you don't know, it's tough. So whether you have a job or you have a business, life itself is difficult to live, you know. So you getting, even if you don't build the business, living the life itself, you are going to deal with a lot of challenges. So I think that the challenges are overwhelm people when they are ill-equipped to deal with the challenges, you know. But if you're equipped, then you can deal with challenges and still keep your peace and still grow in spite of the challenges and the problems. So you don't get overwhelmed if you have the awareness that these things will come, you know. And if you don't get to know what others have endured, you you exaggerate the difficulties that you are going through in the business, you know, or in you being an entrepreneur. And it will always come down to the one who endures the problems and continues to upgrade himself to solve the challenges. And so some of the challenges that I think there are the challenge or the problem of the business idea, the concept, the proof of it. If you get the wrong concept, the wrong business idea, you can be in trouble for a long time. And so make sure you study yourself well, what you understand, the gift, your expertise. If you don't have any expertise, no problem. If you start a business, you still develop an expertise. But at least identify the area that you think you can leverage more. It's not every business that you can just leverage. There are some businesses that are so much difficult and they are not for starters, I think. There are some businesses that are for people who have done businesses and have understanding. There are not every business. I don't think every business is for startups. I think the businesses that are for startups are businesses that come with ingenuity and innovation. You're innovating a system, you're innovating a service, a product. And you having tested the product, you can take that product to the market, you know, and test the market as well. And if you see that if there is a need for it and you can build your sales, you know, mechanism around it and you can sell more, is the best and the easiest way to start a business. Or if you did not create the product yourself or the service yourself, somebody may have created it. If you can build a system or some kind of conduit around it and build sales around it, you are in business. You know, so it's not everybody who creates a product or a service and get to sell it for people to benefit and build business around it. But the best way to start a business actually is through the sales, getting a product to the market. You know, and out of that, because everything that people are creating have to be sold anyway. You know, there are some businesses that are not for startups, and some of it will be, say, project kind of business. I don't think that if you have never done business at all, those are the areas that you have to go into just because your friend is a minister and is trying to get to a project. Usually, they call for so much expertise, and sometimes the expertise, by the time you get them, you would have given up. You know, so not every business, I think, not every business is for startups, especially when you're very green and you don't understand anything about business. You don't understand finances, you don't understand yourself, you don't understand how business needs leadership, the sales, the right things in place. Because some businesses call for a lot of things, and any of them can crash you quickly. So the people who succeed quickly, I think, are people who just get a product and try to develop the market around it. And having done that, then maybe after you have proven that you have some money somewhere and you can go into some of these major businesses, then you can try that. But for me, you don't get into a lot of these technical businesses, so to say, when you're a novice. You to get into a lot of troubles. So the concept of the business will be a challenge, and it's your duty to know which one that I have to try, which one that I have to stay with based on what I know. You know, so if you're somebody with some technical expertise, then no problem, just go there. But if you're a novice and you just want to start a business because you just want to start a business, then the idea that you start the business with will show the level of problems and challenges that you meet, the kind of business that you want to go into. And sometimes they will even show how much success that you see quickly, or how delayed your success will become just because of the area that you enter. You know, so look at that. It depends on you, especially when the business takes a lot of money from the beginning. before the cash starts to come bit by bit. That is a dangerous one that you have to enter into if you're novice. You know, you would want to start a business with a very little money and expect a lot of money to come in. You're not the one going to look for 1 million to start a business that you have no experience, and you put the 1 million in and expect just one person to bring that 1 million. It's a major trouble. You can be hit, and by the time you get back, maybe you're 50 years. So look at the business that you can start with little money, and which can grow on your innovation, on your development, on your expertise as a business person. You are learning, and the better you become, the more the business is growing. Those kind of things. I think that's the best way to start a business, you know, and to prove yourself, especially if you're novice and you don't know anything at all. You know, so leave the other big ones. For instance, if you are a novice and you want to start a business, I want to start a hotel business. The money that you need to build that hotel is a lot. And for you to run a hotel to succeed, it's no joke. The things that they buy, how you are going to run the restaurant there, it's a lot of complex. If you have never been into that, you may not be the one to start that initially. You may want to try something, and when you have a lot of leverage and understanding, at least even if you don't understand the industry, you would have known how a business works, you know, then you can go into some of these areas. So you are not the one to say, I want to start a real estate company, and you have never done anything, and you want to pump 300,000 Ghana cedis, 1 million Ghana cedis to build one house and go and look for a buyer. I think that there are a lot of things that you can do with 1 million, and you don't even need 1 million. So there are a lot of ideas that you can do with just 2,000, 3,000, and grow that. I think those businesses have a better chance of succeeding. And then when you have proven yourself, then there are a lot of other areas that big business people are doing, but they did not enter those areas right from the beginning. They became better in understanding business itself, and then they studied particular businesses. Even the top ones who have done businesses for long and who have a lot of capital, they don't just get into any business at all. They study, and some of them will never enter some business at all. Why? Because it takes a lot for you to start that, to study that business. Even though they have proper network, they have proper understanding of how businesses run, they're still very hesitant to enter some businesses. Why? Because they know that it takes a lot for a business to work. So I would say that you don't test the idea, and you don't need a lot of money to start a business. So if the business that you are starting needs a lot of money to start, and you're a novice, that is danger. You're creating problem, and that problem can eat you for a long time. So it's a challenge that you have to overcome to know which business you want to start. And if you look around, most of the businesses that have done well are businesses that they started with little, and they learned to grow and understand business, and then they expanded. They are not the ones who started boom. Businesses who start boom big usually are the ones who have a lot of troubles. You know, so you study that, and it could be a challenge to your entrepreneurship journey, so to say. And the other one I say is the challenge of yourself, your ability to decide that I want to commit to do business. And so for the next 3-4 years, I'm not going to write any application for another job. I want to do this. The time that you take to make that decision, because it can become a challenge for a lot of people. Some people will never try to make that commitment at all, and depending on the model that you want to use, but I think that it's something that you have to decide, that I want to commit to building a business, and I want to be in it and build it well, you know, and prove yourself and stay committed to it. Overcome the self-doubt that I want to build a business, and that if you have decided to build that, you see that it can work for you. The next one, the next challenge that I will say is the challenge of the kind of person that you choose to become your partner. Usually, by the time, if you're green and you're novice, like I was, you may not have a lot of information to identify who should become your partner. And so you may be lucky, out of sheer luck, so to say, then you may pick the right person. You know, how much do they want out of life? Their vision. You know, do they just want a car and a house, or they want to build a company? If you pick the wrong one, who wants to just own a house and a car, and you want to build a business, that's a major trouble. I can guarantee you within the next 6 months or 3 months or 1 year, it will not work. and show their commitment level. I mean, are they ready to put a lot of effort for the business to work? You know, what are they bringing? Are they bringing the expertise, or you think that is their money that they want, or they want to be present? It's a challenge for you. If you miss that, the business may never pick. And a lot of us have had challenges based on that. You know, you meet, and these challenges are the ones that will create the problem. If you don't solve them well, then you see that you can delay. You can be in detour for a long time because you pick the wrong team, you pick the wrong partner, you pick the wrong employee. Maybe usually your first employee, you pick the one out of affection or out of sympathy. And so you did not need the guy, but you know the parents came to say that, oh, because he's in the house, he's doing nothing, so help him. And you're naive because you are still evolving, and then you got the guy on board. He brought nothing. He's in the office, and he doesn't bring anything, and yet you are paying him out of your struggles, and that can kill the business that quickly. You know, so it's a major challenge that you have to solve. Who do you bring on board? Are you going for partnership, and what kind of partnership are you going for? Are you going for their money, and if it's the money, what stake do they come in? Because the disagreement that you have in at a point that the business is even beginning can kill the business. It can kill your enthusiasm as well. And so if you get that wrong, you will create a lot of stress for yourself. A lot of stress for yourself. So the challenges that I'm talking of, the challenge of the idea, the proof of the concept of the business, the challenge of the self. You are the one involved in the business. The doubt that you have, or the decision that you have made to say, I want to start a business, that is a challenge. Most people are not able to make that commitment. So they always vacillate. You know, they have the idea, they put it down for the next 10 years, the next 20 years, and they're always going back to write an article and talk to people about when they want to start a business, and can take you 10 years. The last time I had a lady who told me all the fantastic ideas about how you want to start a finance company for women and stuff, and she works in another organization. You can see that she's not ready. So now for her, it's a challenge to her entrepreneurship journey. It's a major one for her. She's still in doubt as to, am I ready to go, I'm not ready to go. Whether she's ready to go or she's not ready to go, that is a decision to make, you know, and that can become a hindrance to her to start something or not to start at all for her life, you know. And so the next one I'll talk about is the partnership, the team. If you miss it, you have missed a big thing. It's better to go alone than to go with the wrong guys. You know, so look for people who have that shift of mind to believe in themselves that I want to build a business and I'm committed to this. Somebody who sees the value you also bring on board. You're not looking for a superstar. You're looking for somebody who complements you. You know, somebody who believes that you also have something that they need, just as they have something that you need. Then it's a good mix. So they appreciate what you bring on board. You also appreciate what they bring on board, and it can be a good team. And when you meet problems, you can see that both of you are not frustrated. You don't run away from the problems. You are the ones to solve, to make sure that the business works. You know, so you are looking for somebody like that, and look for a track record of somebody who has endurance spirit, who has endured something, not somebody who wants to just be a showboy. He wants to show people what he has. You know, the fact that he has an office, has a business, he's sharing business card, but the business itself, they are not even interested in it. Those are not the kind of people that you want to bring on board. So you should see somebody who has shifted from just being an employee to building a business, and there's a total shift there. If they're still very much concerned about what people think about them, where they work, and the money that they don't have, and things like that, they are not picking the right person. You're not picking the right person, and that can become a major hindrance to you. The next one that I talked about is the finances. It can become a major trouble for you. Your shift, your understanding of the money, how it is made, how it is multiplied. Are you the one who is going to hold on to the business because you don't have money, or you are going to roll because you would want to create the money as you go? And the choice is the decisions that you make. Your understanding of money. Who told you what? If your understanding and those things are trouble, the business will suffer. The business will suffer, and that is, for me, the few things that they have told us about money is the ones that your parents or the community told you, and usually it's just work, get money, buy a house, buy a car, don't worry yourself that much, you know, it doesn't matter. Those kind of things, you cannot carry that into business. You may have to endure and put in. Sometimes you may have money that can build maybe 3 or 4 houses, and you still be the one living in an apartment, renting. Why? Because the business must survive first before you survive. Because if the business goes down, the kind of liability that will come on you, a job that you pick cannot pay that. So you would want to be very much competent in how the finances are managed. If you miss that, you create problems. The business may never survive. And usually most businesses collapse or go bad or go down because of how the finances were handled. If you did not handle the finances well, then it's a major challenge. So it's a challenge for you to understand that the finances play a major role in you becoming a good entrepreneur. And a lot of us, unfortunately, had to had to learn it through the tough times, and a lot of them were not good at all. But we have become better, and we are learning. And so the finances, they play a major role, and you cannot carry the employee's way of looking at finances as a business person. No, it doesn't work at all. It doesn't work at all. So if you're going to switch, then you have to switch all the finances as well and see business as business, because you are the one who has gone to employ 3, 4, 5, 10, 20 people. Now all these people are going to be paid at the end of the month. And if you go for SNET, whether if you have registered with them, whether you make the money or you don't make the money, the SNET people, they are counting their money. The tax people, they are counting their money, whether you are making money or not. So your ability to handle the finances against some of these institutions are also very much important. So the finances, if you don't know them, if you're not a good finance person, the business will not pick, and it will become a huge headache for you. The business will not pick. So there are a lot of information out there from the experts. You may have to school yourself to learn a lot about the finances. The next one that I talked about is how you handle the state institutions, because they have the power to hustle you. To hassle you. They have that power to come and demand a lot of data, a lot of information, come and audit you. You may not know that when you're starting. Then 2 years along the line, you see the tax people coming to say, but you started your business. Nobody forced you to start a business. Now they are saying that the business that you have started with your money, you owe them. And yet you owe them, and so it can become a problem. So those are the challenges that you have got to endure. Study them. You cannot say that I don't care, they can look for you. Yes, maybe if the business is only in your room, but the moment you start to grow, you have got to overcome that problem as well. And anytime that you want to grow the business and expand the business, that problem will come up. And are you the one to run away from them? I don't think so. Develop yourself. They can kill you. You can only meet them and negotiate things and solve problems, because that is what you're doing actually. You're solving problems as a business person. And so how do you overcome some of these things? I think that you being aware of some of these challenges is of good importance to you. Being aware that the challenge can be the idea of the business, the concept, whether it's working well or it's not working well. Another challenge can be whether you have resolved that you want to be a business person, and whether you have committed yourself to developing to become a good leader in handling the business and become a skilled business person. That is a challenge that you have to overcome. The other challenge that I talked about is the challenge of the partnership. These things. And you being aware of these problems and you developing the right expertise in these areas to handle the challenges, because they are, and people have overcome them. So there's no way that you cannot overcome these challenges as well. So you resolve to stay with the process. It's a process that you have got to resolve to deal with and to become better. And whoever is connected to you, whoever is your partner, whoever is your employee, you let them understand these challenges are there that you have to overcome. And every time that you want to grow, they will come in a different phase, And so you have to build the courage and the boldness. You cannot be a weak person trying to build a business, because everybody will take you for granted and cheat you actually if you're weak. So these things, the moment you identify the challenges, you can stay and build them and build your business. Who knows, maybe the next 2, 3, 4, 5 years your business will be stable and you'll be the one employing people and creating value for the society and creating value for yourself, solving challenges, solving problems, So these are the things that you have to overcome. For me, for you to become an entrepreneur, or for you to enjoy the journey, because the journey does not have to be frustrating. It's only frustrating when you underestimate some of these difficulties. Because if you talk to any of them, whether they live anywhere in the world, and particularly in Africa, they come in a different shape. Because a lot of things have to be said, and we're still trying to work on them. For instance, if you borrow in Ghana, 36, 40%, that's not something that you can do anything with. Yet those are the realities that we are facing with. If you pick another partner with you, his family is talking to him, his girlfriend is talking to him. If you buy a car, they are saying that your friend is using the money to buy a car. If you don't buy anything, they say that the business is not growing. There are a lot of cultural challenges in terms of partnership, but you have got to study them. It's better to go with two than to go with one. The concept, the idea, the economy is green. The economy is not as mature as some other economies. So the businesses that are here, the systems that have to support the idea to make it work, you have to study them and customize them yourself. You cannot just go and pick any business at all and say that I'm building this. You may waste a lot of time. So the finance, I've talked about what the state institution is the same. The guy at the state institution thinks that you are his business. So he has to create fear in you for him to extort from you. And a lot of them, the understanding of the guy who is trying to survive to become an entrepreneur is that you have money, that's why you're doing it. They don't know that you don't have the money. You're just trying to prove yourself and prove the concept. And maybe along the line you have the money. Maybe, I don't know. But to them, they think that, you have opened a business, you must be rich. And so when there is no problem, they will tell you there's a problem, and you have to come and see them. And they will use the state institutions to harass you. And they are not even aware that we need this kind of people. We need this kind of people to create value for the economy. Because one of the major things that the African economy needs is what? It's entrepreneurship. Because who are the ones creating businesses that are employing thousands? I don't know how many people are creating businesses that are employing 1,000 or 5,000 in Ghana. I don't know. But the guy can create some business and employ one lady, one boy. Those are the people that the state institutions should welcome and help them to grow. Yet, over the years, they have rather been a challenge that we have to overcome. They have rather been problem. They come and they threaten you. They want to hassle you. If you don't develop the expertise and the skill, the leadership, the human skill to deal with them, they will cause a lot of mess for you for nothing. And sometimes you may not have even committed any crime or any wrong anyway. But the fact that he sees you as somebody who is trying to do business, he thinks that he has to take money from you. And these are the things that we deal with. You can deny them, but they are the realities that anybody who is starting a business at all goes through. And sometimes you even ask yourself, does it worth it for you to fight for a country? You're employing 3, 4, 5, 20, 30 people, and instead of them to see that this man is doing something, he's not trying to cut corners everywhere, he's just trying to do what he has to do, and yet the people will come and frustrate you. Now you have to lift yourself beyond the frustration. You should understand that they are part of the problem that we are trying to solve. And so your psyche must be way bigger and way higher than how they think. You should not let them be the frustration for you. When they come, talk to them as professionals. They come with the state powers, and you cannot fight with the state powers, at least not at your level. So you just have to know how to deal with them and talk to them nicely and comply with whatever they want and be as professional as possible, because it's a challenge that you have to deal with. If they have not come, they will come. I mean, they come, and they should not. At a point, you get used to that, they will come. And so when they come, just deal with them as a human being, and don't panic and don't be afraid, because they cannot tell you anyway. And you're just helping yourself. Somebody is looking for a job. You are looking to start a business. If the state is not helping and you are starting a business, why should they frustrate you? Why should they hassle you? Why should they threaten you? But that's the reality. Some of them do that. But at every point, you get people who are very nice, who at least what I've experienced is that if there are 5 who come, at least 2 of them are very understanding. They are very calm. They are very respectful. And so you get to just look at those guys in the team and deal with them as professional as you can, because these are things that you are going to deal with so far as you have a business in a country like ours. So if you don't want these challenges, don't start any business at all. Go and enjoy your job. So but if you think that this is something for you, then be prepared for some of these things. They will come, and they will come sometimes when you did not even expect them to come. They will show up, and you are the one to deal with them and deal with them well. So thank you very much. My name is Obedako. I have tried today to talk about 5 challenges of entrepreneurship. So and I don't think that they are just unique to entrepreneurship. They are just things that people go through in this life. So if you're on this earth, you just have to resolve that problems are in this world, and you just have to build more capacity to handle the problems, because if you have more capacity, then the problems will not worry you that much. So those are it, and the 5 things that I've talked about have been the challenge of the idea of the business, the concept, yourself. You have to overcome self-doubt and resolve that this is what you want to do. And then the challenge of partnership, who you pick to be with you can build the business or can destroy the business. How you handle the finances can be a major challenge. And then I've talked about state institutions and how you deal with them. And so thank you very much for listening. I hope that this is beneficial to you, and see you another time. Thank you very much. You can go and watch some of the videos on the page, and some of our videos on the YouTube channel. So thank you very much for listening, and thank you. So see you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
Thank you too.